Shalom, 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 shalom. I'm going to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakdash. Yahweh is who he called God or Jehovah. Yahweh mean he is, he exists. And Yahushai is who he called Jesus Christ. Yahushai means he saves, he delivers. And double honors to the apostles and Ezra Great Millstone. And salutations to all the Archeim that's pushing the truth uncut the raw. Waking Lekim to third come that's right as your brother Connor Nutt from the GMS Miami Camp. Going into another lesson. Farmers in America are saying that they can't afford fertilizer in new survey. And we told you through the Spirit of Yahweh, Heavenly Father, and warning you through the prophets that a famine is coming. All right, that's part of a famine is part of Jacob's trouble. All right, and people of the world, oh, that's America. But if America is affected, you know the whole world is going to be affected, and it's going to be a global famine. All right, it's a global famine because the people that's ruling, they're maniacs, they're madmen, they're mad scientists. All right, they want the population to plummet. All right, instead of before you gotta understand what this is gonna go into it. This U.S.-Israeli conflict is affecting them. All that is all set up. All that they're all in cahoots. The nations are in cahoots with each other. All right, the nations are still they're still worshiping the beast in his image. All right, so they with this conflict. They're all together. You're like, wow, how can you say that? Because these even the high heads of these other nations they're in bed with the Edomites, the so-called white man. All right, so they want to bring in this new system. All right, the third industrial revolution dealt with machines with gas or oil. All right, now they're gonna bring a system where it's just robots, AI. All right, so they're gonna say, oh, gas prices is getting expensive. All right, we have another solution. Our gas harms the earth. We're trying to go green, so let's push these people into a new system. That's what they're doing. All right, that's what to push more of these smart cars, smart house, smart this. They want you to be in a system where they controlling you like they are God. All right. So all America hopes. All right, the Lord's gonna put a spirit upon these nations to shoot at Babylon the Great America. But right now, they're in cahoots. They want this new order because Babylon, or the Edomites, Babylon sold them a false dream dealing with this new world order. And once the nations figure out that Babylon lied to them, even his friends, his other Edomite counterparts or affiliates, all right, they're gonna shoot at her. But let's go into this story. Going somewhere else. The Hill. Majority of Americans farmers say they cannot afford fertilizer in new survey. All right, so it's gonna be a famine. All right. New survey revealed that majority of U.S. farmers say they cannot afford fertilizer due to rising costs caused by U.S.-Israeli conflict in Iran. The survey released American Farm Bureau Federation, AFBF, on Tuesday shows 70% say fertilizer is too expensive and has left them unable to purchase fertilizer they need. All right, to farm. All right. And y'all already remember earlier this year dealing with motherfuckers ICE. All right, they've been detaining Northern Tribe. Our Northern Tribe consists of you Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians. All right, you make up the Northern Tribe of Israel. All right. They were picking them up, and majority of those were what? They worked on farmhouses or farm ranches. All right, remember they didn't have people to pick up the food, and food was just rotting. All right, so all this is coming together. All right? And it's beautiful. It's exciting times that we're living in, man. All right? And you be like, damn, hey, I believe that the Lord gonna keep me in the time of famine because he said so. You know? So let's keep it going. 94% of respondents say their financial situation has worsened and remained the same compared to 6% who say financial situation improved. But I've heard that 6% are you know, all right. Spring planting decisions depend heavily on access to fertilizer and diesel fuel. All right, because they have certain machines that they use that need diesel. All right, to plant our harvest. All right, that's why they're gonna push that 3D meat, the bugs, insects, and all that. Let's you know, both which have been impacted by geopolitical risks that have disrupted global markets. The ABF economic analyst team market intel stated nitrogen fertilizer prices have gone up more than 30% since the start. See, that's a lot of the conflict in February 28. Damn. According to market intel, combined fuel fertilizer costs have also risen 20 to 40%, with urea prices jumping 47% since late February, bro. All right, so you see, it's a famine that's brewing. All right, the Lord is causing a famine. All right, and it's beautiful for you Americans. Why? Because you are the most proudest. All right, here in America, homeless people eat better than third world countries. You know, in a sense, at least they have, you know, probably certain third world countries, they probably eat once a day. All right, once a day. All right, American homeless, they eat all day. They have, you know, people give them food. All right, you have places where they give them food. So these Americans don't know how to go days without eating. And we told you how to break somebody is by them being hungry, especially when someone that's been in comfort all their life, been comfortable their whole life. They never went a day without eating. At least these third world countries, some of them go days without eating, or they eat something light. All right, so the Lord gonna have to take their ass out in other ways. But you niggas here are you Americans. I'm speaking even for you Israelites, because y'all, you know, consider yourself, you know, Americans. All right, the Lord's gonna get you by food, and that's how you get the tribes too. That's how you get the tribes, because so-called Negroes, Latino Americans, they love to eat. They love to eat. Humble a nigga down is he can't. He is, you know, he looking like an Ethiopian baby from UNICEF. I'm gonna continue to keep reading, and I can bring out the because I'm getting close to the plantation. And the AFBF cited the closure of the Strait of Hormuz as a key factor affecting the crop production system and fertilizer needs. Over 1/3 of global traded fertilizer passes through the strait. See? That's, man. You don't think that these devils knew this? You don't think all these other nations knew this? By conflict, disrupted shipments intended for farmers just ahead of planting in the spring. So, hey, it might be it's going to probably be a rough winter in America. So that's what you're planting for spring. So by the time fall come, you know, you know, that's why they have, you know, fall. All right, it's the sign of going into winter. So harvest your food, or, you know, store your food, pluck your food up. All right. Farmers planting spring, the Washington Times previously reported. Midwestern producers report the highest fertilizer pre-booking rates at 67%. Is more common in the Midwest, where fertilizer needs a typical larger purchasing decision are often made well ahead planting, AFBF stated. The West saw the second highest pre-booking rate at 31%, followed by the Northeast at 30%, and the South 19% pre-booking rate. The AFBF evaluated that the fertilizer markets is the most volatile since Russia started its military invasion in Ukraine in 2022. Disruption in the Middle East affected around 49% of global urea exports needed for crop production, because remember, I think Ukraine is the breadbasket. Everybody get a lot of grains, I believe, from Ukraine. So that had affected the world. Now, all these are systematic, through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. But he's using these devils. All right, that's enough. Let's go into the Lord had the prophets out here, Jeremiah 28:8. But nobody was listening or taking the heed except the elect. Jeremiah 28:8, and the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kings of war, evil, and pestilence. All right, so evil is bad times. All right, famine is bad times. All right, and you niggas didn't listen. I already told you. Through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, everybody been warning you that a famine is coming. A famine. All right, but you niggas didn't take heed. You niggas don't care. So now you're going to be judged in that famine. Some of you to go. That's why Jeremiah 15. So he sets us to a famine and famine such as to the captivity. So Jeremiah 15:2. It shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them this, said the Lord, such as for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. So some people judgment is going to die in famine. All right, but all of it, would you have some people that make it through famine? Yes. But another judgment is going to get them. If you're not part of the elect, if you don't have the mark of exemption upon your forehead. All right. I'll read 3 as well. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, said the Lord, the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. So the Lord is going to have animals judging people, killing people, destroying people. All right. But famine is coming. All right. The Lord is bringing famine upon the land. It's going to be a global famine. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. All right. 2nd Ezra 15:5. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction. So it's the Lord that's bringing this. All right. Second Ezra 16. Second Ezra 16. A lot of people don't know how to drive, man. And they impatient. And that's why there are a lot of accidents. Because these people are impatient. You know what I'm saying? Just be patient. You're going to get to the job. If you left work late, you're going to get to the job late. There's nothing you can do about it. Just get there. Try to get there and safe. All right, 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mourning is the beginning of famine and great death, beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils, bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plagues and tribulation and anguish, there are sent and scourges for a minute. So these judgments are for the wicked. All right, but that's what's happening. A famine is coming. I'll jump down to 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish in famine, and the others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. You see? So famine, the Lord is orchestrating this famine. All right, because you got these devils, they rather give water. All right, water to these centers, then they give you free water. They'd rather just waste water on them where they can give you free water, or your government, all right, can say, oh, they can prepare you because they know a famine is coming. They can prepare you, say, hey, we'll give you this much seeds, we'll give you this much to start planting food for yourself, or make a green room, a green house inside, or, whatever. But they're not warning you because they don't care. They want to bring down the population. Remember, the Georgia Guidestone is 500 million. So they're okay with a lot of people dying, and the majority of people that is of the world, or the population of the world, are you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And you speckled birds who lineage go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand, like the sand of the sea. You make the majority.